This is my channel, this is the name. Speaking of video games.
Hold the Wii remote like this.
This is Speaking of Video Games, and I'm about to be Speaking of Video Games. Welcome and such. Here we are speaking of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer for the Nintendo Wii. Will you look at this game and declare it to be the king of jingling? Or will you decide that it should not join in any of your reindeer games? I don't know, because I could look you square in the eyes and tell you right now that I can't even name one reindeer game, let alone a plural amount of reindeer games. Who gave me the authority to critique such a reindeer-centric video game? Speaking of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer for the Nintendo Wii, it was developed by High Voltage Software and published by Red Wagon Games in the year 2010. A version of this game is also available on the Nintendo DS. High Voltage Software is known in my heart of hearts for developing the video game Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, which still holds up today in my book of books. Red Wagon Games published games that seem to be pretty low budget, but not necessarily offensively bad, such as Gem Smashers. With Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, are we experiencing a low budget but not necessarily offensively bad video game? Boy howdy.
Amazing.
This release of a video game was marketed towards fans of the Rankin Bass Productions stop-motion television special of the same name, which was released in 1964.
Amazing.
Okay, I can't stop thinking about what the reindeer games even were that Rudolph was not allowed to participate in, so I guess I'm going to do some research and figure that out for you. Alright, I'm back from researching. I can now tell you that the types of reindeer games that were played by reindeer other than Rudolph were firstly, tree tag, which must be something like playing tag amongst the trees, or perhaps being the first to run to a tree and tag it, or maybe even spray painting graffiti onto a tree. I don't know, and how would I ever know? Secondly, we have snow slide, which is probably sliding down a snowbank, which is also known as making a slide out of snow. Sure, sounds great. Finally, we have tumble bones, which seems pretty self-explanatory. Wait a minute, no it doesn't. What on earth is tumble bones? My gut reaction is that the reindeer took the remains of their slain enemies and rolled them down a hill, probably laughing all the way. Ha ha ha. I feel very confident about that description of tumble bones. Speaking of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer for the Nintendo Wii, you select several different characters and play 4 different mini-games in hopes to get the high score. You heard that right, 4. 4 mini-games. You can finish all 4 in less than 15 minutes. What a circus of values this game is. So what are these games? Are they what the reindeer other than Rudolph played? No, they are not. We've got a mini-game where you're putting ornaments on a tree or presents under said tree, depending on whatever item the elf decides to throw at you. Another mini-game has you making Christmas cookies, which sounds more like a chore to me. Next, a mini-game where you're painting toys, which is actually manual labor. And finally, you're trying to throw presents down chimneys while flying in the sleigh that's being pulled by the reindeer, which I don't believe is the method that Santa uses to deliver presents, but I cannot be certain. None of these are the games that the reindeer other than Rudolph played. None of these games involve the climax of the stop-motion TV special, which was Yukon Cornelius and Hermie the Misfit Dentist Elf setting up the pork dinner thirst trap for the abominable snow monster to fall for. The snow monster then proceeds to get his teeth ripped out of his mouth. Yeah, Hermie the Misfit Elf, the wannabe dentist, ripped that dude's teeth straight out of his mouth. Absolutely savage. Abominable Snow Monster was just having a 7-day weekend in Christmastown, eating whoever and whatever he wanted on the regular, and now he has to eat mashed potatoes on the regular. The dude is fit though, and he's got the tightest abs in Christmastown, so much so that I casually refer to him as the Abdominal Snow Monster. You can bet that I'm for real about that. I just want to take this time to give my thoughts on how this game should have played out. In my version of this game, the game starts with you, Rudolph, watching the other reindeer play games. You can't participate at all, and it's not fun. This seemingly goes on for many hours, but it actually doesn't take that long. Next, you and Hermie run away and struggle to survive. Food is scarce, and the weather is severely inclement. You, Rudolph, are also doing what you can to not go crazy from hearing Hermie babble on incessantly about incisors and bicuspids and all the what-have-yous of the dental world, all while being scared to death that he'll remove all of your teeth while you're asleep. After that, the end credits appear. You finished the game. It took less than 15 minutes. It was terrible. Maybe I can make that game that I just described in Game Builder Garage. Probably not.
You got it!
At this point, I think I've said everything that I needed to, so like and subscribe if you really want, and consider giving to a charity this holiday season. Alright, bye.